was taught in the previous class. So in the previous class, we talked about the list, and I've tried to use to show you how to use the list to print, to iterate through the content of the list. So I know there will be there will be a lot of things to understand in this concept. So we'll take some time to shed more light on it before we proceed today. So yesterday I was talking about how to look through the index numbers. So someone might ask, are you saying you cannot run a code and look through without having to look through the list? We can do that. But we want to show you how we can look through a list and find something which is not obvious to us in the list. So we want to show you how we can look through the list and find something which is hidden in it. So now let's take a look at this. So let's say, for example, we have a list. We have a list, and this is a list. It's got apple, banana, and cherry. And you want to find in this list if there is anything that looks like apple, wherever, but you cannot actually see everything in the list because it's a long list. So you want it to be on a straight line so that you can read through with ease. So this is one of the benefits of a for loop. Another benefit of a for loop is sometimes you can have a long passage and you want to find a word in it. So you can use a for loop to find if a word is in the list. So that's another way we use it. We can use it to find if a word is in the list. Because sometimes it's not easy to keep looking for one word in a very long list. So these are another benefits of using a list. So now let's say, if you take a look at this code very well, you've got this list. That is the name of the list. You say for I in range length this list. So what does this line of code, what does it mean? For is a word for the for loop. For I, the meaning is the content is what is represented by I, the content of the word of the list. For I in range, the meaning of that in range is the range of the numbers or the range of the items you have in a list. So range of length of the list, print the list I. I told you yesterday, we can rewrite, instead of writing I, we can say for fruits. We can say for fruits in range length list. Print this list fruits. So you can do that and you would get the same result. But the point is just understand the syntax of writing this code. So once you understand it, then every other thing will be easy for you. So we moved on to while loop and we did the same thing. So the only difference between the for loop and the while loop is for the for loop, you don't give the I a value first. You don't give it a value. So you just say loop through everything. But the case with the while loop is going to continue once the condition is not met, it's going to continue to work to do the same thing. Because you say while I is less than the length of this list. What is the length of this list? Is 3. Once I is less than 3, print this list I. Continue to print this list. I mean the content of the I. So since you did not, if you, I showed you yesterday, it's gonna start with the content of the I, which is Apple. It's gonna print Apple. Then it's gonna add one to it and print this. Let's say, for example, Apple is having index 0, banana is having index 1, 0 plus 1 is 1. Then Sherry is got index 2, then because the I now becomes the what? Becomes the banana. So now since you've got the what, you've got this I plus 1, which is equals to 1 already, then I, which is already 1 plus another 1, which is going to become 2. Then that 2 plus what is now, the I is now 2. So the I plus another 1 is going to give you 3. Until you get to the condition, until you meet the condition, it's going to continue to what? To print it. So this is what while loop is. So if you want me to, I will take you now to Google Colab so that you can have a look at it again. Please mute your mic, everyone, please. Just give me 1 minute, please. Can you see my screen now? All right. So we want to work with some codes here. So I'll bring some examples of for loop and some examples of while loop so that we can have a better understanding of these loops before we move on to another lesson. So, like what we wrote yesterday, we said the first thing is you run everything. So you would run everything. So you go here, go to runtime, then run all. That's the first thing you have to do. You run everything. So now everything is fine. That's great. So we can open a new code underneath. So this is for today. Let's say more example for more examples on for loop. So now let's use the same list we have. Let's use it, or we can decide to use some other. We can decide to use some other examples. Let's say, for example, let's say we have colors. Let me use colors. Let's say colors is equals to, you open a list, yellow. Remember to put it yellow. Oh no. Red, blue, green, purple, indigo, violet. So these are colors which we have. So now let's say, for example, you want to iterate through these colors. You want to do the iteration. You run this first so they can store the color in the memory of your computer. So you would say for, if you want to write the code, you say for color, for color in colors. For color in colors, you put your colon, then print what? Print color. Easy. It's pretty easy. So when you run it now, you have all the colors being printed for you. You have all the color being printed for you. So let's say you want to iterate over a specific color. So you would have that color to be, let's say, for example, say X is equals to violet. All right. So now what would you say? You would say for let's say for I in X, what do you print? I or X? Print what? Print I. For I in X, because X is the name of the color of the string. So what would you see is going to print violet in a straight line. So this is another example. We can also do more things with for loop. Let me play some. We can play some games with for loop. Now let's say, for example, you uh, say code is equals to Python. All right, code is equals to what? Python. Then you have another syntax, which is x equals 0. Now, for I, I'm using I to represent the content of the code. For I in code, for the content in the code, that's the meaning of I in code. X plus equals to plus 1. Let's run it this way. Sometimes we use this way. The meaning of this is x is equals to x plus 1. But sometimes we want to avoid the repetition. We just write it like this. It works sometimes so it works. So then you want to print. Let me remove something complex to make it pretty easy. So you say x is equals to x plus 1. Now I want you to see, we're starting to write a code now. The first thing you did is say the code is Python. Then you declared your x to be 0. We know why we're declaring it. I'll tell you later. We want to design Python in such a way that it's going to look like, decoration. So you said for I in code is the name of the Python. So I want you to run through the code, the string of the code. And when start from x equals to 0, so and increment my x by 1 after every time. You understand? So when you have my x, let's say my x is 0, 0 plus 1 is going to give you what? 1. Now, if my x becomes 1, 1 plus 1 is going to become 2. So if my x is 2, 2 plus 1 is going to become 3. So it continues to increment itself. So then what do you want to print? You want to print, you want to print what? You want to print your code in such a way that you have 0, in such a way that you have 0 colon what? Colon x. So what does this mean? The meaning is the incrementation you give in then to the x. So I want you to run from 0, which is the origin, then to what the x is going to be at the end of the whole thing. So for example, 0 remains the same. The string, the 0, it remains the what? Remains the p, which is the Python. So it's not going to change. So I want you to give me something between the range of the index 0 and what the x is going to be, the index of the x. It doesn't know the index of the x, where it's going to end, but anywhere it goes or how much it is, run for me, print for me the string in between these indexes. So that's the meaning. So if we print this, for example, it's gonna yell a little bit, but it's gonna at least now you see what we have. So this is the first section of the code. So what happens is it makes the zero syntax, it makes the index 0 p. Then when it added 1, then it became py. When it added another one, it became pyt. When it added another one, it became pyth. He added another one. So this is what this code is saying to you. Now we want to write another code. We want to say for I in my code. For I in code. All right. Then what else do you want to do? You want to say X. You want to now, sorry. X is equals to X. Instead of plus, you minus 1. So what would this do? It's going to decrement. It's going to be removing things from Python one after the other. And you want to print the same code, that you want to print it. Now you would see the difference between the two codes now. So now you want to print code of 0 to what? To X. So now when you run this, now this is what you have. So the first block of code incremented it from P to what? To Python. And the last code, what did you do? It incremented it from Python to P. You can see how beautiful for loop is. So this is exactly how we use a for loop. So we use a for loop for many things, and which we can also do better with. So now, if you have understood that, if you accept you want us to do more. So if you want me to do more, I can do more. So let me do more for loop. So maybe that would help you to understand it in a better way. Let me do more for loop because it's not about how much, it's about how well. Now let's say, for example, we're gonna use the two tables we've had. We have a table for colors and we have a table for fruits. So we're gonna go and pick the table so we're gonna pick this up. We're gonna bring it down here. So we call it fruits. So we call it fruits and we put the value inside it. It's long, huh? So then we want to have another. So we want to have we want to have another list. All right. So the second list, I'm going to call it colors. I'm going to copy the color we already had. So I'm going to copy this. Like it's actually very helpful if we can understand this for loop now, but it's not compulsory we understand it now. So now what do you want to do? I want to give color to every fruit. Hmm? I want to give color to every fruit. So how do I do this? I want to print a mixture of different fruit with a color and different colors. So what would I do? Then I'll write a for loop. I will say for, mind you, I need to run this one first. I will say for, um, let me put the colors before that will be easier. Let me take this off. I think it should be fine. 4x, 4x in what? In colors. Or I can say, let me stop using this X. Let me don't be like the other people. I would say for color in what? In colors. All right. Then I'll write the second one. So this is called a nested loop. We call this a nested one, nested loop. So nested loop is putting a for loop inside another for loop. For color in colors, then column, then for fruits, for fruit in fruits. Hmm? Did you see that? So now I've nested one loop into another loop. I nested the fruit loop into the color loop. So what do I want to do? I want to print. I want to print what? I want to print color and what? And fruit. Hmm? So I will explain what this code does. I'm writing a code that I want you to pick for me all the colors, iterate through the colors and iterate through the fruits and help me to find a combination of a beautiful color for a fruit. So when I run it, you can see it's going to give me, because the fruits are many, so it gave me so many, huh? So it says we can have violet, orange, violet, blackcurrant. So it gave me a long list with different combination. So this is, if you know permutation very well, you would understand what it's doing here. It's giving me every possible combination between the fruits and the words and the colors. Huh? It's giving me what every possible combination we can have. Let me reduce the number of the fruits and the colors. Like, let me have only 3 fruits. Let me remove blackcurrant. Blackcurrant is black. Let me have only one orange. Let me remove grape. Let me also remove cashew. Let me remove pomegranate, kiwi, mango. So let's remove this here. So now we have 4 fruits. So let's reduce the colors to the main colors. So let's put 4 colors. All right. So in this case, we're gonna have a less combination. So you may want to run it again. So now you've got more fruits than color. So if you still run it and it's still very messy, you can swap it. So now we have yellow, orange, yellow, purple, yellow, apple, yellow, banana. And we have what? We have yellow, orange. So it did for all the yellow first. Then it went to the what? It went to the red. It went to the blue. Then it went to the green. So this is how we use it. So we can have a lot of list for using a for loop. So we can continue to use the for loop for many other things, which you cannot even think about. Sometimes we can also use a for loop to count. We can use the for loop to what? To count. Now, I think I can send you some work, some task to do about for loop against tomorrow and share with me. So let me give some examples on while loop before we move on to the next stage. Although I didn't want to do much about this loop thing, but I'll give only one example on while loop. Okay, now remember in a while loop, you need to give the first thing a count. So let's say you call count is equals to 1. Your count is equals to 1. So while your count is less than 10, I want you to listen very well. Once your count is less than 10, you want it to continue to print something. So you say while your count is less than 10, what you need to do, you want it to print the what? Print the count is then you put the count. The count is, this is just a syntax. I mean, it's a string. So the count is, then you put a count. So I would explain now. The first thing I did with a while loop, you put a count to give it a number, you put 1. I can also put the count at 0, it's okay. While the count is less than 10, print the count is this number. I mean the count. So after you've done that, then I want to give the code to the count. Then count plus 1. I want you to always increment the count after every count. So it continues to do that. And after everything is finished, you want it to print out of the loop now. Or you want it to print the loop as ended. The loop has ended. So this is what you want to print. I will break it down again. So you said you declared the count to be 1 in the beginning. You said while the count is less than 10, the condition is if the count is always less than 10, what did you do? Print the count is the number of the count. Then continue to increment the count every time. Add 1, 1, 1. Then once you've now reached the last number, whereby the loop cannot continue, it should print the loop as ended. So when I run this, you would see the magic now. It's going to say the count is 1, the count is 2, the count is 3, the count is 4, the count is 5, until the count is 9. The loop has ended. Did you see? So if you decide to put 0 here, will it work? Yeah, it's going to work. The only thing is going to start counting from 0 because you put a count to be 0. You need to set the count. If not because of time, I will have showed you the ping pong game I did with some of my students. So now you said the count is zero. Why the count is less than 10? Print the count is this number. I mean, this, then count is equals to count plus one, increment it after every time, then print the loop as ended. So this is exactly what you demanded for. And that's how you got it. So now we can have more examples on for loop if you want to have. So if there is a question, type in the meeting chat so that I can know there is a question and I would tackle it. Okay, no one is typing anything. That means we all understood. That's great. So another example which we can use a while loop for is, let's say, for example, you want to you want to have you want to know if a row is ended or not. Or let's say you want to print, you want to have a formula that will ask you for something and will print something. So let me do that for you. We can also have, for example, you say, you write while the condition is true, what should happen? I will be what will input. This is like what we did before. I is like input, and please enter an integer. All right, are you with me, everybody? So I input, please enter an integer. So, but put into quotation or into parentheses a condition. O to exit. All right, then put your colon. Mind you, if you don't want to have all of it written too long line, you can use your backslash to bring your code down. My Swedish laptop, I've not seen the backslash. And I've been looking for it for a long time to now. So I usually use a second laptop. So, but if you want to bring down what you have on the line, you use a backslash n to bring it down. So let me try to find it. Okay, I will just copy it. It is it. I will copy it. So now I have it. So paste it. So backslash, and because you want to go to the next line. So this syntax which you have at the ending will bring the rest you want to write after it to be on the next line. So after that, you want to also declare your I to be what? To be int I. So you casted it. You casted the I to be an integer. So then you give a condition now. You remember I did a casting for you before as well. So you want to give a condition if I is equals to 0, then you colon, that's a conditional statement. If your I is equals to 0, print exiting the program. You can tell what your program should print, not always printing an error message. You can say print exiting what? Exiting program or exiting the program. I'm just trying to make you see exiting the program. So this is it. So otherwise break. The meaning the break is otherwise completes your process. So, and when it completes the process, you want it to print something, which is a special way to print. So what do? You say print. You said print into parentheses F. Then use a curly bracket. I'll explain all of this to you. We will get to where we use this F print style, hopefully. So you put the what? You put the quotation. You put this in the quotation. So you want it to print F of I squared is what is I raised to the power of 2. All right. So put this into the semicolon, to the curly bracket. So I is code in treating you. All right. So you can put your quotation behind the what? Behind the curly braces. So there's an arrow somewhere. So then after that, you close this, and the arrow is gone. So now what does this program, what does it do? This program would ask you, because anytime you find the input, the meaning is ask you something. It's going to ask you for any integer. So then you would tell the integer. Then it's going to take that integer. It's going to compare with what you have in the system. So if it finds it comparable, what would happen? It's going to break. So when it breaks, the meaning is it stops to run. So, and it's going to print a statement that I squared is equals to I raised to the power of 2. So this is what it says. So now this printing style is a very technical style, which we need to talk about. So when you run this, it's going to ask you for a number. I'm going to give it 7. Enter. Then it says 7 squared is 49. Now it's asking for another integer. I will enter 17. Enter. Place the square of 7 squared is 289. I can use 22. Enter. 22 squared is 40. So now I'll build a wonderful calculator that once I just put in the value, it tells me the square. Can you see? So this is an amazing way to work. If you have these codes in your lab, you want to calculate something, you don't need to use a calculator. Just use a program. Just click on your code, and it's going to solve your problem. So this is exactly how we use a while loop. In fact, there was another project I cannot find for now, but I remembered we use a for or the while loop to see which of the floors of the building the lift is hidden. Because there was a problem whereby the lift is hiding somewhere, seized in the place. So they actually wanted to know which floor is it found from. So then we had to write a program to be able to locate it. So this is why Python is an amazing program. And it's going to continue to ask you whatever you want to ask for the square root of 45. Just type 45, enter. It's going to tell you what it is. So this is an amazing way to improve your skill and show off what you have. So I wish you the best in your understanding. Thank you very much.